normally don't like to cover stories like these because I normally like to report on things once they're either confirmed by one of the major trades like Deadline or the Hollywood Reporter, or it's flat out just confirmed by the studio themselves. But this is a story that's, getting a lot of coverage everywhere else. Everybody's talking about it, and I think it's just an interesting conversation either way. So let's get into it. Industry insider Daniel Richtman is saying that Marvel and Sony are actually in a bit of a tussle trying to figure out how they want to approach Spider-Man 4. Kevin Feige apparently wants the movie to be more grounded, while Sony wants it to be huge, and they want to bring back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And to be totally honest, I can understand both sides of the equation. First of all, what do I want? I want the movie that was promised at the end of No Way Home. At the end of that movie, Tom Holland's Peter Parker finally became Spider-Man. He's on his own. He's in a shitty apartment. He's struggling to pay his bills. He's making his own suit. I want that movie now. It's okay, he's no longer Iron Man Jr. He's no longer being babysat by Nick Fury. He's no longer running to Doctor Strange for help. He is Spider-Man now. That's the movie that I want to see, and that is apparently what Kevin Feige wants to do. Sony, on the other hand, sees $1.9 billion that No Way Home made, and they're going, we want to do that again. And to be completely honest, I understand both sides of the equation here, because the truth is that a solo Tom Holland Spider-Man movie is not going to sniff $1.9 billion. That's just the truth. Spider-Man Homecoming made $880 million worldwide. Spider-Man Far From Home did go on to make $1.1 billion, but again, that is a far cry from almost $2 billion. And, when you're a studio, when you have to answer to investors and blah, 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 it's I can understand why it would be kind of hard to go and say, yeah, so the thing that made us almost $2 billion, we're going to not do that again, and we're going to go in a different direction. From an artistic point of view and from a more fulfilling point of view, I would imagine for Tom Holland, that's unfortunately not going to be as profitable. That being said, even from a business perspective, I really do think you have to look at the long-term gains as opposed to the short-term gains. Because, yes, if you bring back Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield for another Spider-Man movie, that movie is going to make a lot of money. But I do think it is also going to make that whole situation less special, because people simply aren't going to be as excited as they were for No Way Home. That was a special moment. And if you just do it again immediately, it is going to inherently make that less special. I think that moment can happen again in Secret Wars, or maybe Tom Holland gets another trilogy of movies. And then at some point, yeah, you bring back all the Spider-Men again. Maybe at some point you introduce a live action Miles Morales. And then, yeah, you do it again. Create some new beloved characters, either villains that Tom Holland fights, or new characters that you introduce in his upcoming movies. You might even have another Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And then you do the No Way Home thing again, and guess what? You're gonna make a bunch of money again. And doing that, people aren't going to get as sick of it. And from Marvel's point of view as well, if rumors are to be believed, Marvel is kind of angling Spider-Man 4 to be sort of a big event film for their street-level heroes, potentially Kingpin being the villain. You might see Charlie Cox's Daredevil show up. But again, I can also see Sony being what does that do for us? So you're using Spider-Man in order to build up your other characters, knowing full well that by not going with our direction, that we're going to make less money. I can understand the politics at play here. But even then on the flip side, I can also understand that they kind of fumbled the bag in a sense, because I'm why didn't you get rolling on an Andrew Garfield solo Spider-Man movie? After the success of No Way Home, they also set up Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to have an arc, right? Because after the death of Gwen Stacy, he became a Spider-Man that doesn't pull his punches anymore. Make an Amazing Spider-Man 3 of that Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker becoming whole again. That's actually a compelling story that I want to see. And as much as I hate those movies, like, why aren't you using Andrew Garfield as the Spider-Man of your Venom verse? Like, why isn't he fighting Tom Hardy's Venom? Why isn't he showing up in Madam Web? Like, what are we doing here? Like, actually, what are we doing? After Marvel and Sony teed up Sony to potentially find some success in the wake of No Way Home, Sony just squandered it, and now they want to do it again. And it's just lame because as an audience member, I don't want it again, at least not this soon. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Because from a business perspective, of course, bringing back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire is going to make you a lot of money. From an artistic point of view, that's not what you promised at the end of No Way Home. You promised a more grounded Spider-Man story. You promised a Tom Holland Peter Parker finally being ready to be on his own. To Lil Bro him again is just kind of lame. And also, Marvel, might want to use Spider-Man 4 in order to build up some of their more street-level heroes. And I can even understand Sony not caring about that because it's not going to help them in any way. So what do you want to see in a Spider-Man 4? And B, what do you actually think Sony and Marvel are going to agree to do? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.